Welcome to Movie Time Machine, your retro movie review and pop culture podcast where we review movies from the past and chat about what we're streaming in the present. I gotta wordsmith that so it rolls off the tongue a little better. This week's topic, Ghost in the Shell, released in the year 1996, March 1996. Directed by Mamoru Oshii. I think I got that right. Good job. Ghost in the Shell, it's a Japanese cyberpunk franchise based on the manga series of the same name, written and illustrated by Masamune Shiro. It's good. Check it out. A lot of Japanese names. I'm not going to hack that. I'm your Time Machine host, Chad. And before we get into our topic of the week, I want to introduce you to my Time Machine co-hosts. First, he's our haggard-looking, 80s-loving, viral video-watching guru. It's Casey. What's up?
Yo, please like, comment, and subscribe for some existential terror.
And he's our living encyclopedia of movie knowledge and NES card collector.
They had to have made a PS2 game about this, right? Like, it would have been, I don't know. It's got to exist. I have never played it. There we go. I knew it had to be something like that, especially with the timeline that this came out.
Yeah,
so that'd be interesting to play.
Something complex, or it's terrible.
Womp womp.
It's bad. I think you play as that like spider.
Are you kidding me?
For most of the game.
Oh my god.
No,
it's so bad.
It's bad. And he's our sports reporter, Mr. Fish Wrap Factory himself, host of the Midwest Mountain Sports Report podcast. That's Jamie.
I think that last name is Ishii. Thank you, Quentin Tarantino and Lucy Liu.
Ishii?
I think so. The double I, the director's last name, Ishii, because she's Oren Ishii in Kill Bill.
Is it Oren Ishii?
If I'm not mistaken.
Is that Oshii?
It could be.
Oshii?
I do think you double pronounce that I, though. Don't take my word for it. I'm just going off of Kill Bill here.
I won't.
Oh, probably. Well, who's Hattori Hanzo?
Hi.
I won't.
I did take 6 months of Japanese, so I'm. But yeah, don't ask me about any of that. I did. It was an option.
Did you really?
And at the time, my brother, who's older, took Japanese in high school. So I was like, "Hey, this will be great because if I take, Spanish or French or Russian or one of the other options, like I won't be able to get as much help as I would with Japanese." So I took that, and then my brother moved out of the house his senior year of high school to move in with his girlfriend or something at the time, if I remember. So then I got no help whatsoever, and I was like, well, I am terrible at this. So I didn't keep doing it after 6 months. So womp womp.
Dang it. Hey, Chad, Tokyo is on my bucket list.
Tokyo?
Yeah.
Bucket list. You're too old for bucket list. I just had a birthday, and I'm still too young for a bucket list. So, but I was actually kind of thinking. Thank you. I know earlier I was thinking of my bucket list actually because I was having a panic attack, and I was convinced that I was having a heart attack, and was thinking about how we were gonna have to cancel the pod tonight, and that I was going to die. But if I made it through, I was going to live a cleaner and more healthier life.
You were pleading.
Then I realized I was just...
But as you're doing it, you're writing down things for your bucket list. Oh, man, Chad.
Exactly.
I bet that hurt your heart a little bit.
It did.
Yep.
Literally.
Wait, so you're sitting here, you're telling me you're staring at death's door, and then relief subsides, and you go, okay, throw that away. We're good.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. I got more time.
Please, God or universe, if you let me live, I'll do this and that. Oh wait, no, I'm just having a mental breakdown. Okay, we're good.
I'll give my wife another baby. Wait, I was just messing, God.
Burn that shit.
I have my fingers crossed.
Jamie fell for that one.
I did. No, I knew that one was coming. I prepared for that.
Just a shot.
No
in the
pun
dark.
intended.
So, hey, now we have a bass player, man. We got lead, rhythm, singer. Bass and drum.
Got this guy I used to work with. I used to work overnights at the Bloomington Walmart. Yeah, it was like quite the rough crew, but I just remember this one guy would always talk about his kids. And he's like, I always tell my kids, I should have left you
Oh
on a
my
mattress.
god.
Dude.
Oh, sick.
Those kids
Like,
did not grow
okay.
up well adjusted.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
know.
1-800-therapy.
Woof.
All right. You guys want to talk
Yeah,
about
let's
some
talk about some news. What do you got? News,
Time for
news.
news. I got a couple things on here, not a whole lot. Just want to talk about what's going on in the world of entertainment today. So, got small story and big story. Want to get your opinion on some of these, but first, I just want to ask you guys: are you guys excited at all for Moon Knight that starts next week?
Excited's Yeah, excited's the wrong word. I guess I
MCU.
don't know like this whole phase, I don't know enough about these characters to be excited, I guess, for it, but I guess my excitement comes from I hope they do a good job with things, like always, because even like the 10 Rings, the Shang-Chi, like that was a fun movie and I didn't know anything about that character and it was a lot of fun. So I'm hoping with Moon
Yeah,
Knight it's similar. The
yeah,
trailer doesn't really get me there for the excitement, but I'm maybe that was part of their plan because I think then I am undersell and over, or they're going to undersell and over deliver it, which is really what I would want, I think, in the end anyway. So hopefully it's done well, and so that I'm excited for to kind of so they can continue the phase they're on. But yeah, anybody they've brought on board, I just don't know a whole lot about, and I know they're doing the new Blade within the next couple of years too. Like he was hinted at the end of one of these more latest movies and shows. Um, but all I know about Blade is, well, whatever Wesley Snipes taught us. So maybe there's more to it.
Is there? Yeah, I enjoy like with trailers, just kind of not seeing a whole lot, and I feel like they don't really show you a whole lot. And I don't really know much about the character, but I did see that Ethan Hawke is also starring in the series, so they got a lot of star power in this one, I would say, with Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac. And yeah, I wouldn't say excited that I'm excited, but I'm just really curious. I kind of like the
Right.
aesthetic, if you will, of the character. It looks cool. It's kind of like Batman
The Mummy.
meets like
Punisher,
the Mummy meets like
Egyptian
the
Punisher.
Hulk or something. I mean, I don't know, like this kind of multiple personality thing, but
Well, and
yeah,
I don't know, like
like
I can't tell if it's just because like the MCU and Disney and like this is like, hey, these are where blockbuster movies are made now, and this is what we do. Like, and that's how we're getting, and or they're just trusting Marvel in what their plan is because they're getting a lot of star power behind a lot of these characters now. So like you like casting Oscar Isaac, like sure he's got his own fan base going on, but that I would like to choose to believe that the source material is really good for him to be like, yeah, I'm on board, let's do this. Um,
yeah,
so I don't know. That's the part I'm
yep,
choosing to believe in too. Like either the actors I'm guessing are like where they're going to go with things, or maybe it is written very well where they're excited to be a part of this, a part of what's going on next too. Because what was I'm trying to think. I can't remember now if it was Marvel or DC movie, but like where Jessica Chastain showed up. I can't even. Maybe it was that the last Wonder Woman. Am I making that up? I'll have to look it up. But
God, yeah, I don't know. Wasn't
I don't know,
I don't was it
but
Wonder
it's just
Woman?
another one where like she
I
shows
didn't
up,
see
and
Wonder
so it
Woman.
leads me to believe that I'm like, oh man, so she read something, and maybe it's only a bit part for this, but wherever they're gonna go with it, she's excited to be a part of it because I also feel like she's somebody that can pick and choose
Yeah.
what movies she wants to do. Oh, you know what it was? It was X-Men Dark Phoenix. So if anybody saw that, which I know a lot of people
Mm.
didn't, so she was, yeah, I forgot she was in that
Yeah.
movie. So like again, and I don't know where they're going to take the X-Men series next. If they're going to continue with these first class characters or start over, but I just remember when I heard her name in there, it was kind of exciting to be like, oh man, if she's joining this, something must be really to this movie. So
Really quick, I was just thinking like if they bring the X Men back and like into the MCU, I think they need to bring them back like but without Professor X. Like he's
It's kind of
already
like a cheat
died.
code.
Yeah.
Like they're
But
around in the
anyway.
MCU and like already kind of like they know of Professor X. They talk about him in past tense of like we had somebody that believed in us. Like he's not here anymore, and then just kind of like this
Yes.
somewhat defeated, and they
Yeah.
need something else to believe in. They're like, well, we got a new crew. We're called
Yes.
X Force. Just kidding.
That'd be a
The X-
cool tails
X
side
Day.
of the coin, though. X Day.
Xer.
Like Vin shows up and he's like,
Xer.
yo, I'm Xander Cage. Do you want to be part of my team? Triple X.
What if
Oh
he
my
was
God!
Professor X?
This
Like Professor X
badass.
just
Oh, what an alternate universe. I love this idea.
I mean, first of all, he's also bald. Second of all, Professor
Like-
Triple X to you.
Like
bitch.
seriously, like in the next Triple X movie, if he reprises this role for a third movie, like how funny would that be? Like the trailer is him rolling up in a wheelchair and just like, Professor, can I get your help with this? And it's Vin. Oh my God, I would die. And then he just
Does that make the entire Fast
He's-
and Furious
Oh,
franchise
yes,
just
yeah,
a
100%.
multiverse?
just stands up and throws the wheelchair at somebody. Oh my God.
he's racing in the wheelchair.
I think they already did that in Scary Movie 2.
Paul Walker is Quicksilver.
How many people just turned off our channel?
Wait, I really didn't mean that. I just meant like obviously Professor X is in the wheelchair, but Vin Diesel is in these like hot rod movies. So I would guess my first place I would go would be.
Oh
a
no,
hot
we
rod
got.
in a
I think we all
wheelchair,
got there. That's where I took it.
Okay. All right.
No,
Too late, Chad.
I
You're
was just saying
canceled.
from our
Yeah.
topic of conversation, like we went too long and too far with this.
Right. Oh yes.
Conversational podcast. as you say.
Conversation. That's right. Yeah, Jamie or Casey, any thoughts on Moon Knight before we get on
Anyways, yeah,
to our
Moon
next topic?
Knight.
Yeah, it's a Moon Knight.
I think Oscar Isaac's going to be good. I think that's exciting, and I don't know anything about the character, but it's either like multiple personalities or like he's the same person through different multiverses. So there's going to be some like weird like psychological stuff going on, and so that kind of gets me going. I think that's going to be exciting. I
Mhm.
echo that I'm interested, not excited. I will probably watch it all once it's all done. When they release them one by one for however many weeks, I'll start it when they're all released and then binge it at my
Leisure. Okay, I'll let that slide, but I'm telling you, when Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out, I'm spoiling that shit episode by episode.
As someone who lives his life many years behind, I don't want to say immune to spoilers, but I can't let them get me down, man. It's no sweat off my back.
I mean,
And here's the thing about
dude, we
Obi-Wan.
gave Jamie 2 years, and we just finally spoiled
I think
Mando for him. So
Chad.
But here's the
That's fair.
difference. Obi-Wan is not rotting in the belly of a sarlacc. So that's a show I
Chad
can
scared
watch.
me into watching The
Yet.
Mandalorian season 2 like so fast because I was like, I don't want him spoiling anything for me. I better do this.
all right,
What's some
cool.
more? Yeah, I was gonna say, what's some more news that
Next
you got?
topic. Then we get to our topic of the week. Some more news. Netflix is going to make your parents pay. So have you heard that?
I like how you went
Have
like
you
not your
heard
friends or your little
that,
brother. But you're not wrong. It's definitely all of our parents.
Right. So, because
Wait.
we all share our Netflix
I
passwords
do,
or
yeah.
accounts
Both
with our
mine
parents,
and
right?
my in-laws.
No,
Right.
or
So
your parents could just move in
Netflix
with you.
is
It's your
testing.
call.
Dude, I've been a part of that. You don't want that.
You don't want that.
Yeah.
Speaking of
but
canceled, my Netflix account.
So
To be honest, I don't watch it that much. I don't watch a ton on Netflix. If I was gonna cut something, it'd probably be that. That'd be one of the first ones on my list. I think I'd prefer to keep something like an HBO or a YouTube TV. That's all I've got right now is YouTube TV and Netflix. And quite honestly, I think I'd keep YouTube TV over Netflix.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Yeah, and just to get the whole part of the story too, like Netflix is testing this out in like a couple different countries. I want to say it was like in South America or like I don't
Hmm.
know.
It was all South
Testing
American, I
that,
think.
yeah, if your account is on like so many devices that they're going to start charging you for each additional one, is what it sounded like. And it just makes me think that I've read for a long time now that Netflix is like carrying a lot of debt. Um,
Mm,
just a lot of these like all this content that they're putting out there and producing, and now that this makes me think that, oh, okay, you're really starting to like pinch for pennies now. Like you're gonna
hmm.
start. I'm guessing like their subscriber base is starting to plateau, and they got more
I think
competition
that,
now. So
yeah, I think this might. I shouldn't say it's gonna fail. That doesn't feel right. But I'm with you that if I were to talk to any of my friends or family and we're like, hey, we're gonna cut the cord on, some a new or our channel, like which would you like to do? And I'm with you, Case. Like Netflix would be first to go. My brother's been talking about it for like 6 months, and I think the only reason he's kept it is because my mom's in the middle of season 8 of Grey's Anatomy, and so she's got 8 more seasons to go, and can't really make mom
Mhm.
not know what happened to Meredith.
Yeah, but that's on Hulu too, I think, though, right? That's an
That's
NBC
fair.
property.
And
If it's
so,
on
like, yeah,
Hulu.
just do that.
It is.
Maybe Disney was really smart with here's this Hulu Disney ESPN bundle. Go get it. So, but with that kind of brings it to when we did the Scream, the Screamcast. Did
Stream
everybody
Scream.
download what Paramount Plus for the 7-day free trial just to watch that movie?
I
I'm
did.
glad you brought this up. I blew my 7-day free trial 2 years ago for March Madness, the year the tournament was in Minneapolis. Um,
Casual.
yeah, so I had to pay for the month, but yes, James, I'm in there, which is why I will be watching the new Halo series. I don't know if anyone else is interested in that.
I know. Watch some. Tell us
There
about
you
it
go.
next week.
I will.
I'll watch at least one. I'll
I
give it that.
I was not interested until I saw the trailer, and I thought that
Okay.
actually looks really good.
All
They
right.
had a lot of decent production value and good looking
I
All
visuals,
right.
did.
so I'm interested.
I think I did take the
Okay.
most advantage I could from the Paramount Plus trial. Like, I wanted to watch some of the shows. Like, I was interested in testing Picard, and I wanted to watch 1883, but I was so confused by that because I'm like, wait a minute, isn't Yellowstone on Peacock? But what I guess I gathered after doing some research was they didn't have anywhere to stream it because Paramount didn't have its streaming service up yet. So they leased it to Peacock, and that's why Yellowstone's on Peacock. But season 4 of Yellowstone and 1883 is on Paramount Plus, I guess. But the only movies that I want to watch were there was the Infinite one with Mark Wahlberg. That's pretty decent. I kind of want them to go with the second one in that. And then I think an older movie, Robot and Frank, or Frank and Robot, or whatever. And then after that, there was nothing on there I was interested in. So I went on, made sure that it was going to be deleted by time the trial was over. What is convenient, and I'll give it to Amazon on that. It does say, hey, would you like to end now or end on Wednesday when your trial is up? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. We could keep it rolling for 2 more days and then cancel it. But yeah,
Usually that's what they do. If you cancel, it'll like roll. It'll just say like, okay, you have
of freeness. It was
6 more
7-day free
days
trial.
of
You're on day 4. Here we go.
yeah. Yeah.
If you cancel and they don't let you finish your subscription out, I think they have to pay you a prorated amount. Like you paid for that period of time. If they turn you off, that means they had to have done that to give you some of your money back.
Now with your
No,
free
you don't pay
trial.
for
That'd
like
be
the
bogus.
trial period.
Oh, the trial. Sorry, I thought you meant like you paid for a month and then you're like, well, cancel, and they're like, well, okay, you
Oh no,
canceled
I see
today,
what you're
then I'm
saying. No,
paying
they
you
would.
your month. That's what
I
you're
got
saying
you.
with the trial. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Because at least, or maybe because I do it through like the Apple TV app. Like I'll just
Hmm.
go in, I'll subscribe, do the free trial, then I'll go back and I'll cancel my subscription anyway, but I'll still get that
It
Yeah, and
gives
that
you
was
whole
I
that's
did the
week
same
or
thing
that's
through Prime,
14
and it did
days.
the
Yeah.
same thing.
chill of them. This just makes me think there's going to be a service, and maybe we start it, a service that you pay instead of all of these, and you just choose which one you want that month. Because honestly, it's to a point now where it's not that much
There
cheaper than cable now,
there
right?
used
So
to be there used to be this thing called cable TV where that's pretty much what you did. And you actually got more channels because just the way it was grouped together. But
mhm.
so that's one question I was going to ask you guys is like, so are we to the point now where cutting the cable has kind of come full circle and now we're paying more for content than we've ever had,
I
most of
I don't
us?
know I don't know that it's come full circle, but what I think has happened is all of these subscription models are following the same model as like a frickin' gym membership. They want you to subscribe to the things to watch a show, then forget about it and stop paying for it. I
Yep.
think if you were diligent enough and like said, I'm only paying for one thing at a time, and you bounced among them, you'd be able to like, bounce to one, consume the things you wanted, then go to another thing the next month, consume the things you wanted. If you were, disciplined enough to do that, I think you
Mhm.
could still save money. The problem is they just don't make that easy. If you want to, keep up with the shows that you want to keep up with, you got to pay for multiple subscriptions. And if they're going to start cracking down, like Netflix is showing that they might,
Like if I wanted to cancel
we're all
my
doomed.
Peacock account, I actually have to drive down to the Care 11 studio, which is an NBC affiliate, to, to
Basically, yeah.
go
You
to
give
the
them a
gym.
That's
handwritten letter.
serious. That's what it's like for real to cancel your Hulu subscription.
Oh, I didn't even
Really?
know that.
Yeah, you have to like I had to call.
Yeah, you have to call. It sucks.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
is
god,
fucking
never
dumb.
blacklisted from me. If you make me call, I'll never use you. That's
Yeah.
that's
That was
21st century
I think that
bullshit.
was before the Disney
Like ad.
buyout cuz now it's like if I just like cancel my Disney Plus bundle, then it
Gotcha.
cancels the
Well,
rest
because
of
I
them,
think
but
Casey, you're onto something
Oof.
with.
Oof.
I do think, like, yeah, I think Disney, and tell me if I'm wrong, guys, if you know something different, but like I was looking at Peacock the other day, and I think it said like on there, "Hey, no subscription necessary. It's this much a month. Cancel anytime," kind of thing. And maybe I'm not reading the fine print somewhere. Okay, and
I
that's what
think
I
they're
wasn't
all like
sure
that.
because when I think about Peacock, and just like I was saying with Paramount Plus, I wasn't seeing a lot of content on there that I'm interested right now. But would I like if I'm, hey, I have this weekend off and it's going to be rainy and freezing all weekend? Would I pay my between $4 and $9.99 to binge a season of something, like if I wanted to watch Picard or 1883, and then cancel right after I binged the show I wanted to watch? Or I mean, I get it for that month, so maybe I don't even have to do it over the weekend. But when I'm actually gonna put some time into a show,
Hmm.
like yeah, I would
yeah.
totally pay the $4.99 or whatever it is, do my binge my show with the alarm set on to cancel, or even just hop on the computer after I press play and cancel it right away. Cancel it, and then
Yeah,
it's like, all right,
immediately
on the
cancel.
31st you
Yeah.
no longer have this. I'm like, thank you, sir. I don't know, I feel like you're onto something with that. If we can be diligent about canceling the gym until we go, like I don't need my Planet Fitness every month, but I'm feeling like I just watched Fight Club, I'm feeling fat, I want to look like Brad, I'm gonna go do Planet Fitness for a month here, and I just pay my $10 and then I cancel right away.
It's just a lot of work. That's why I'm thinking I'm gonna go build a service where you pay me and I'll subscribe you to Netflix for 1 month when you tell me, and I'll cancel it as well. So you just push one button in my service. You pay the same price, maybe plus like 15 cents, right, to make me some cash. I'm gonna start a middleman service. It's coming. The subscriber service.
Streaming with Casey.
Boom.
I'm threading the needle here though, because Chad, you brought up a good point about cable not actually being as expensive. The problem is where I live, I'm not in any Xfinity zone because I'm kind of in the boonies. So my only choice is streaming or satellite TV, and direct TV is way more expensive.
Yeah,
So
that's
I kind of
garbage.
it is. I have to cobble together. So I got YouTube TV, HBO, Netflix, and Disney Plus for the kids. But Casey, I'm going to do that. I've as I've said on the Midwest Mountain Sports Report, I'm breaking up with the Rockies this year, so I'm not going to watch baseball, and I can watch hockey on Hulu. So I'm going to put YouTube TV on the shelf and just focus on Hulu and HBO, and then see how I feel in the summer.
All right, all right, all right. Cool.
No,
Did I
uh,
lose everyone? Okay.
We
I
here.
think Casey went to go
All right,
pee.
got
He
off
was
the
the one
quiet.
that was adamant about,
All
not
right.
adamant, but he was adding a lot of good content to this conversation.
All right, should we get into the topic of the week? Ghost
Hell
in the
yes.
Shell. Did you know Ghost in the Shell was released in 1996? And it's an animated feature? Some would
This could
call
be
it
the
an
first
anime.
cartoon movie I've watched that is made by the Japanese.
I was just waiting for James to call it a cartoon.
Oh
Then you
no!
no, you
Yeah,
watched
never mind. I
Princess
watched
Mononoke.
Princess Mononoke with you guys too. I probably like if we rewind and go, let's flash back to that episode. What did James say, guys? This is the first cartoon I've watched. um,
Yep.
yeah, I knew
That's a lost
that is
episode.
last episode. No, that's a lie. I think I've watched clearly more cartoons animated by the Japanese or just Japanese animation or anime, as you would call. It's just not something I go to, and so my question would be, Chad, why isn't this just called a cartoon? What makes this so special?
I don't know. Like cartoon to me, I always think of cartoons are like
Like
the
the
funny section in the
like Daffy
paper.
Duck,
You
or
know,
you're
like
saying like legitimately like in the newspaper, those are the cartoons in the funny pages, if you will.
the funny page. Yes. Um, just anime or animation. I don't know. Just I feel like cartoons kind of makes it to where the what formats or art form of animation like gets kind of put in this like, oh, just for kids corner. um so
Well,
where
if
I just feel like I love this because I like to push James, because I feel like to you they're just cartoons where
Casey,
um
Casey just making a beverage.
it's Casey's
see,
pour one up, pour them up,
Oh, you're
pour them up,
welcome.
line them up, knock them down.
Well, that it's a good discussion because I guess my basic understanding was just an anime would be more of a animated more realistically, right? Not like a cartoon with more character based things. But now that I say that, there are animes that are less realistic, things like Dragon Ball Z. So um yeah, I guess I'm not entirely sure what makes an anime other than it was originated in Japan. I think the themes are a lot more mature. I don't think you'd call anything geared towards children to be an anime, and I think that's maybe part of it too. And I think it's got to be more of a like more plot driven, right? More like an actual serialized series or a movie or something like that. But I don't know what other things do you think characterizes anime?
I mean,
There's like anime for like all ages.
Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's Pokemon. So then it goes
Sure.
to
Yeah.
like the, other spectrum.
so if it gets to anime, like, are we talking like maybe the detail of the animation is a little bit heavier? Because I could say like as far as when you're talking about plot points, I think like South Park, some heavy plot going on, still a cartoon to me,
No,
and I think
no, anime just refers, if somebody tells me like, "Hey, you want to watch some anime?" To me, it's going to be like, "Okay, I know exactly what style it's going to be."
yeah, I get you.
So,
Okay,
right, yeah. Versus if you tell me like, "Hey, let's go watch anime," and you show me South Park, I'm like, "No, it's not anime." Or if you
or let's
say,
go watch
"Hey,
cartoons, and you're like,
let's go
I'm
watch
good.
cartoons,"
Except
yeah.
for
If you ask me to come watch cartoons with you, I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute. Let's go talk to your mom first."
there
That's
is an
fair.
anime episode of South Park though, Fun with Weapons.
That's
Anyone?
true.
Yeah.
No way. That sounds like fun. I need to
It's
check that
Great.
out.
It's one of their best episodes.
I did a little bit more sleuthing, and there is five. What I'm finding is about 4 or 5 important differences between anime and cartoon. The first one sounds, and I'm quoting this from where I'm reading it. It sounds pornographic, but it's called a pillow shot, and it's something in Japanese poetry. No, I'm being quite literal here.
No, I know.
It's it's taken from Japanese poetry. They use a what they call a pillow word, a word or a short phrase that is essentially just like a beat between scenes. And that's, I think, a big theme that you'll see in anime versus cartoons, and especially you saw that a lot in this film, in Ghost in the
Hmm.
Shell specifically. There were a lot of these pillow scenes, which were
Elevator
a lot of,
scene,
yeah, just
the
showing.
canal, and
Yeah, the was it the canal scene? And we can move into the story of, into this too. But the canal scene, I thought, was that the one with the really intense music with like the kind of chanting or high
Oh my
pitched
yeah,
gosh,
kind of
yeah.
singing? That was
that
that
I wanted to
that
turn
I
that
thought
on
blew
mute.
that blew me away.
What?
No, dude, I loved it. I turned it
Oh,
up, man. I had my
turned it
noise
up.
canceller sounds like that. I loved that scene. That like got to me. That was really good. But anyways, that's an anime differentiating factor, is a pillow shot. They use actual, filmatological filmography. They're doing actual scene setup, whereas cartoons don't really do a lot of that scene building and things like that. And there's more, but we don't need to drain it. We can move on.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying there. I get it. I approve.
So let's so James, what'd you think of this cartoon?
I I think the cartoon was I thought it was done well. It was actually interesting to me that so one like the runtime with this is what like 82-ish minutes. And I'm like, okay, typical cartoon, but as I'm halfway through the movie, it was like I don't feel like a ton has happened yet as far as like the dialogue, and so I was curious that where it was going to end up and where it was going to go. At the end of the day, I really did enjoy it a lot. I thought the animation was really well done, especially those pillow scenes that you're discussing are a lot of fun. And then and even just like the introduction credits. Like sometimes it like I had to go back like when you said there was a movie in 1996 and you try to think of like I think what Jurassic Park came out that year. So like CG like wasn't like a really big thing. So on some of the animation you're like, okay, so is CG added to some of this or is this straight up drawn, which I choose to believe that it was, and it's really impressive. So I really liked it and I like the story, and I see that there are several different side like either prequels or sequels or what was the Scream thing we came across, requels. I'm sure that were
Yeah.
made of this film, so I didn't watch any of the other ones. I did watch the live action one right after I watched the animation one, and we can get into that later, but very very enjoyable. I'd give 3 out of 4 stars kind of thing.
Oh wow, impressive, most impressive. Yeah,
Most
the
impressive.
most impressive, impressive, most impressive. Star Wars pinball. Um, yeah, Jamie, what about your thoughts?
All right, so here we go. Bear with me. I'm gonna just like grab the podium for a minute. I'm gonna take
Boobs.
the
No.
boobs. No, I'm gonna take you guys into the movie time machine because this movie did something really weird for me. It actually brought me back mentally to a very specific point in time. So it was probably sophomore year of high school, freshman year, sophomore year of high school, in a place I like to call Armando's basement, and he was a he was a buddy of mine in high school, and we when you're a teenage boy, I think everyone thinks it's just porn and masturbation, which is mostly true, but not in this case and not what I'm talking about. So I was a huge video game nerd. I mean, like ultimate video game nerd. And so was he. So we would just get into his basement for hours, just play. I mean, like a ton of Japanese games, by the way, like Japanese publishers and distributors were my favorite. So I'm talking like Final Fantasy, I'm talking Disgaea,
R-
Shin
RPG
Megami,
madness, right?
RPG. Yeah,
Yeah. What
JRPGs,
was
man.
what was your friend's name?
His name was Armando
Armando. Okay,
Velez. Yeah.
my Armando was Tony.
Tony.
Same thing, same
Yes,
time
dude.
frame. Anyway, continue your story.
So, so it was just a lot of that, like just sleepovers, gaming for like seriously like 6 to 8 hours. But we would also sprinkle in some, like Adult Swim, some Toonami. So we would watch some anime shows, and I wasn't a huge anime guy, but he was. So he kind of pulled me in and was like, "You should check this out or watch this." And I don't think Ghost in the Shell was ever on. This is definitely the first time I saw it, but I wished after seeing this, I love this movie, and it just seems like I wish I had this pop culture stepping stone back then. Like it's great that I have it now, but I really wish I'd had it back then because there's so much just about I have a little chart here. I have a little chart here. It's do androids dream of electric sheep begets Blade Runner, which begets Ghost in the Shell, which begets The Matrix, which begets Altered Carbon. So it's like you see all of these like neo noir sci-fi movies influencing each other, and like I said, it just brought me back to when I was 15 in a buddy's basement because we didn't have a car to go hang out with friends or girls, but we got really into, you know, sci-fi and all of the JRPGs and, you know, like technology. What does it mean? And all of the, you know, philosophical conversations you have at 2 in the morning after hours of playing video games.
I'm happy that you brought up the electric sheep, though, Jamie, because the whole time I was watching this, it was kind of a what came first, like Blade Runner or the egg kind of thing. Like when I'm watching all the which it was very clear that they took, like somebody respected Blade Runner very much so to make this world, but because I think the manga, did I say it right? Was created
You are
in
correct, sir.
'89, and so I like it leads me to believe that Blade Runner was an influence on how this, like, what kind of world they're living in. But yeah, it was kind of fun, and then also yes, watching the live action, they like went straight for it with they basically could have just made this a Blade Runner, not even a prequel, but just like it's in that world in some way.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was still fun though. It was cool that they did it. I mean, it's a fun world. It made me want to, after watching this, it made me want to dive into that Black Lotus Blade Runner show. I didn't, but it makes me
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to though now.
Was that on Amazon? Is that like a series? Like kind of like
I
a
It's a
prequel to the
series, and I think it's on HBO right now. I don't know what it was on before, but I think it just showed up on HBO. But I think it's a
Yeah.
10 episode series. I think each episode's
Wait,
like an
is that
hour.
White Lotus or Black Lotus?
I swear to God, it's called Black Lotus. I'll look up while you guys are chatting.
Yeah, what'd you think, Casey? I think you said was this on your kind of list of anime films that you been wanting to
Yeah,
watch?
yeah, absolutely. So, I'd never seen this before. This and Akira are probably the two remaining anime films that I need to see on my bucket list of anime films. That
Nice.
obviously the Ghibli's, all the Ghibli's are on my list as well. I need to watch those. I don't want to say I'm saving them to watch with my kids, but my wife is not really into anything animated.
Makes me
She did
sad.
enjoy Into this. I know that I forced her to watch Into the Spider Verse, and she thought that was good. But other than that, I think it would be tough to get her to watch a Ghibli, even though they're amazing. So my first go of this, and I like it a lot. I think I actually went into it and didn't fully understand, oh, or maybe didn't really grasp. Um, what's the main character? Kusanagi, I believe is her last name.
Major?
Major?
Major something Kusanagi, I believe is her last name. Um, I didn't really grasp her origin. I wasn't 100% sure if she was like an entire original cyborg where, you know, she's pure programming, and that's why she was having, you know, these existential crises and like trying to understand, you know, how to, you know, these philosophical debates with herself of, you know, who am I really this being, am I anything more than what's inside, you know, anything more than my consciousness, etc., etc. I wasn't sure if that was because she was in fact originally AI, or if she was a human that was, you know, built, you know, had parts built. Um, so I think that affected my original watch of it. And since then I've learned that she is an entirely cyborg being, but has the ghost of a real human implanted into her synthetic brain.
Yes.
I don't know where that's explained. I learned that through other things that I've since consumed. I don't know if I just missed it or if I'm dense and didn't pick up on it. Either way, um,
Yeah, I think
knowing
they
that
try to show that through that intro with like the like someone think
yep,
like that's like her like actually being made from the um whatever tech company that was that makes the synthetic bodies, and kind of how like they
Cyberdyne
show like
Systems.
the yeah, where they show like then the whatever it looks like a brain, the cybernetic brain, then it
mhm.
shows like the scans, which looks like the scans of like a real human brain, but it's all digital. So the idea that's like the digital imprint of her ghost like it's downloaded
Well,
into that. But yeah,
I
but
was
yeah,
a
you
little
have to.
stuck because I wasn't sure if that was her that they were making or if that was the puppet master being created. Because then that was also a synthetic being that you
Yeah,
were then introduced to. So I think that was my own confusion.
You have to say like I mean, for me even like I do remember like the first time I watched this, like the story was kind of hard to follow at times. There's so much like going on and like little details that after you go through like a second watch and multiple watches of it, you start to pick up on these little details that are really cool that you the world building that's going on. But yeah, some of those
Hmm.
details I
Hmm.
think they're just implied or they might be coming from the manga too, which doesn't get translated into the film. But
Sure, sure. Well, I mean, either way, I mean, ultimately, I thought this is a fantastic film, especially now. I probably would have given it a 3.5 walking away from it, but now that I've done, some more deep diving into it and kind of wrapping my head around the themes and kind of the thesis of it, I think that my score has actually gone up because like rewatching it, and I haven't fully rewatched it, but I've rewatched it in clips and kind of reconsuming different bits of it. Um, Man, it's super deep. It's very heady, and it's really 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 interesting. I love the way that it kind of gets you thinking about what is either humanity or consciousness, or what it is to be, what is yourself. Where does that begin and where does it end? What part of you are you? If your entire body is lopped off but your head is kept alive and in a tube, think Futurama. I don't know if that exists yet, but if put a head in a jar, at what point is your consciousness part of you? I don't know. It was just really cool. It got me thinking of a lot of other philosophical things. I think we've talked
mhm,
about like the ship of Theses from WandaVision, when they kind of talk through that philosophical discussion of once you've replaced different parts of yourself or this ship, at what point are you still the original? I don't know. I love all that kind of stuff, those philosophical discussions. And obviously this was way over my head because I didn't pick up a lot of that in my first consuming of it. But obviously, like through rewatches and through reading and reconsuming other things in this sphere or about this movie, you kind of get a deeper understanding of it. And I don't know, super good. I have a lot of different notes about it. I don't think I need to
mhm,
drain all of those. I think I went into it, especially in my first watch. This is, I guess, I'll end on this. My first watch, um, I'm a weirdo, right? I think gratuitous nudity for the sake of just nudity is silly. It's actually what kept me away from Game of Thrones, and I'll probably never watch it because it's just so long, and I haven't watched it. But the first couple seasons felt just like softcore porn, so I was like, I'm not going to watch that. And I kind of got that vibe from this, and I think Chad or someone said something in the chat like, "Oh, it's '90s, so of course boobs, right?" But I think there's a deeper meaning to some of the nudity, and I think it tells a lot, and it helps out with the character building because it's specifically with Kusanagi. She doesn't care. She doesn't care that she's naked, right? Ever. She doesn't see
mhm,
herself as being nude. And I think that's a really deep symbolism, that she feels way more, machine than she does human. She doesn't feel like that's a sexual thing. It doesn't matter to her because she is just her consciousness. Her body is merely a vessel, a shell. For her to kind of control and use, and it's nothing more than that. And so I think while the nudity felt gratuitous up front, I think it does such a crazy good job of kind of illustrating and just showing that without telling that clear separation of humanity or herself or her ghost from
mhm.
from the shell itself, which is in fact the name. So they put it right in my face and tried to tell me, and I couldn't see it, and it took a
Right,
lot of
right.
regurgitating and rewatching to understand it. But man, I think it's because of all those things and the deep twines and how interconnected all of it is and how thoughtful it all is. Um, it's a masterpiece. It's a phenomenal film. I'd probably have to give it a 4 or 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I love the themes. This go around, it was making me think of when they talk about like your ghost and how like you become more like machine, how you kind of lose yourself. I was like, oh, I was trying to apply like like how much of this kind of happening today, and it made me think of like, oh, how like so many people are attached to like their phones and like their ghost being like their presence online, but like how much of that is actually like who they are, like what are they as like a real person versus like their like online uh avatar, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do have to say when I first saw this, it really a lot of it went over my head. I saw it
Same.
right after it came out, probably so around like 96, 97. um but yeah, it was every time I watch it, I get something a little bit different out of it, and I think that kind of speaks to how well it's done. I think even like some of the animation stuff doesn't look as like it doesn't pop to me as much as I remember it back in the day. But I know James, you're saying about just like if this, how much of this is animated, if is there any like CGI, and that's where I think they do a really good job because there is CGI in this, but it's from what I've read and heard, it's used like sparingly. So like like the GPS scenes where it's like tracking the vehicles, so it's like the triangle like going through like the streets of Tokyo
Right,
thing,
and
like
that's where the pieces where I thought it might be, but I just
that
wasn't
is, and
sure.
like then they do some of the stuff with which are really
Like
cool shots too,
the
where
brain on the
like
computer or something.
yeah, like that. And I think like the opening credits scene too, that's very like matrixy with
Yeah.
like the digits coming together, and that was computer created. And I think all the numbers were digital representations of all the people that were on the production team,
Oh,
but it
okay.
Oh,
was like
that's
in
cool.
code. uh, but yeah, I've been really wanting to share this for quite a while, and I think after watching that short film that you shared with us last week, James, the Please
Please
Hold,
hold.
or yeah, it just made me think of this for some reason. Just something, you know, a little, again, probably a little dystopian. Um, this is a post-apocalyptic world too, or post-Holocaust, nuclear Holocaust, and I love this shit. I just eat it up, but I'm really glad you guys enjoyed it, especially you, James, for your love of cartoons. So
No, I no. Thanks for introducing it. It was actually I feel like I've tried watching different animated features in the past, and like this one didn't feel like it was a struggle for me. I was easily able to get into it. Maybe it was because it felt so Blade Runner, Matrixy right off the bat, where I kind of got bought in. So I'm not sure, but no, this one was a lot of fun. I appreciate you wanting us to do this. On that note, I was like, well, wonder if this one's like 82 minutes. I wonder how long the live action version is, and it was 86 minutes. And so I gave that a whirl right after it. Did anybody else watch the live action one with Scarlett Johansson?
Nope.
no,
Yet.
I watched maybe like the first 20 minutes or so, which I think it's like the movie is like it takes bits and pieces from like this movie and like some of the uh, series that came out and kind of puts them all together in this one story. Because I don't think the Puppet Master is in the action film or live action, or is it?
He is. I can't remember. Like that's the only problem with me watching them so close together is I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, was it that one or was it the animated one? But no, there is there is that antagonist in there that I can't remember if they call him the Puppet Master. I believe they do. So he is in it. Or they are in it. So like it was cool because watching it so close together, there were certain scenes where it's like, wow, like this is a verbatim scene like from the movie, and even
Hmm.
like I looked it up later, the opening credits in the live action is like almost a scene for scene of the opening credits of the cartoon one. And then I was reading that they were trying to do as little CG as possible in the live action one during the opening credit scene. They tried to make it as practical as they could. So
Oh
it looked
wow.
real. And so even that part of it where I was like, after reading that, I was like, well, that is really impressive because it was a really cool opening scene. But yeah, the fact that they were using practical stuff for it was just even almost more impressive. Um, but then a lot of the different scenes, like her like at the bottom of the lake and kind of rising above and getting into the boat, like all things like there's a lot of different scenes in the movie that play just like they did in the cartoon. So in that sense, like comparing them like that, it was actually really really cool. And the movie, like in general, like I appreciate the cartoon more than I did the movie. They added some different scenes to change a little bit of the storyline and all that, but I think ultimately, like I was trying to read online the thing, and I was trying to see if it did well, and that's when I got into the kind of the news articles about how Hollywood's whitewashing this movie, and everybody was kind of against it. And I don't like, and I don't want to sound ignorant to anything, but when it came to watching like that cartoon to watching Scarlett Johansson play that girl, like to play Major, I don't really feel like I really never took the animation like as it needed to be or like that she needed to be Japanese. But then again, I watched the English dub version, so that's probably why
Yeah.
I feel that way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I should feel a lot different if I was reading the subtitles, I bet, and listening to the Japanese characters speak. And so, and that I only just connected to right now as I'm like saying it out loud. I'm like, oh, okay, that's probably why. Because even the character, can't even think of his name, but the big guy with the white flat top.
Bato?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bato. Even in that, it's like I look at that dude in the show, and then in this movie, I'm like, I think he was perfectly casted, like for the live
Yeah.
action, in my own
Yep.
opinion. And then even like but then as the cartoon goes, like, did I think? Again, I'm gonna mess up everybody's name because I don't remember anybody. But basically, like her boss, like the gray haired guy,
Yeah.
yeah, like, but like he, like in the cartoon, seemed like he was more Asian than the other characters to me.
Right.
Like the way they were drawn, and in the movie, he was an Asian guy, and he spoke Japanese the whole movie. He was subtitled, and everybody just understood what he was saying.
Right.
So I don't know. I thought the casting was pretty good, and I thought the movie and even visual effects were pretty good. So I mean, if you guys haven't seen it and you just, this is still fresh in your head and you want to get a little more into it, I mean, it's only 80 minutes or 86 minutes. I'd say give it a whirl. I enjoyed it enough, where I didn't think that we all need to be up in arms about it. But I'd like, as I talk through it, I am understanding why people would have been, but I do think that Scarlett Johansson, like you compare like the poster art to this poster art, I think she played it very well.
Yeah, I never really, well, I mean, whatever stance you want to take this from, but I thought the hype or the what do you call it?
Whitewashing or
The
whatever.
whitewashing stuff and that conversation's like, I mean, from the bits and parts that I've seen, I mean, they really play into that world. So I mean, it's a futuristic, like dystopian cyberpunk world. I don't know, like whatever. I mean, to
I
each their own.
think
I think it's maybe something up to you to
around
like. What's that?
well, I think around the same time that controversy was happening, there was also a controversy around a cis person portraying a trans person in either film or movie, and I think that is a lot more of a representation issue. Like, why can't you just have an actual trans person play that person? um I think that's maybe why this got lumped into that outrage, because I think there was a similar issue
Was that the
Oh,
was
was
it
at
that
the
what's his
Jared
same
name?
Leto?
time.
Was that
Eddie
Jared
Maybe, I don't
Redmayne,
Leto?
or was
remember.
it
I just
Jared
recall this not being the primary issue at the time, the whitewashing of this role, and I could be wrong. But I remember there being another issue at the same time.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
do I agree? Like, we have far too many white actors in Hollywood. You're damn right we do. let's get some diversity on film. I'm totally on board with that. I just didn't understand like why people were upset about the specific casting of this role. But and yeah, I don't know. But you're right.
Yeah,
There's
that's
other
right. You're
things
right
that
too. Yeah, you're right too, James. Like the this is like a situation where I think you could say like both answers are correct. Um, like you said, like there is a lack of diversity in Hollywood, especially like in like these big motion pictures, and that probably comes down to how film gets funded. It's like big, huge production companies, and like you got a filmmaker, like if they want to get money to make a film, they're more likely going to get it if they say they got, this A-list talent on it versus maybe somebody we haven't heard of yet, or if
right.
it's like a production company that has like, depending on how diverse their board is, like if they don't see familiar names that aren't getting out there already, then it's going to be more difficult for them to actually get other talent that isn't white um, on film. So it's kind of like
Well,
the way. Does that
well,
make sense? Like the industry, this is.
I get it. And what I so like that just leads me to think that like we need somebody to create a movie like in that sense of like get a director like Tarantino, like get a high, like a name that like we all respect and love. But then
Right.
when it comes to the cast, like it could probably be whoever the F he wants, or if we need some sort of star power where it's like, and Leonardo DiCaprio picked this guy, Hamus O'Reilly. Like, what the hell? It's casted by like we picked actors, big names to pick people that they thought were capable of the parts or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just like we're like, hey, like my name's Brad Pitt and you have my endorsement, like whatever that is. By the way, that was not a Brad Pitt impression. I don't know what that was, but
Sounded good actually.
Was good. Well, and
I
not to
liked
muddy
it.
the waters or put my foot in my mouth, but I think this movie does make it complicated, do they not? Because we're wrestling with gender, with there's clearly lots of
True.
animated breasts, but
Yep.
they're not sexual, and there's male consciousness, there's female consciousness. They're talking about reproducing and creating like a child consciousness. So there are no definitive answers. So I think it's fully reasonable to speculate on all of it. You
There
know
is
what I mean?
there is this was made me think about this, Jamie, is that I watched some parts, in the dub, and then I watched the subtitles as well, and like the scene at the beginning where Batu is like, "What's wrong? You have all the static in your head or something like that," before she busts in and kills everybody with the camouflage armor. And
Yep.
in the Japanese subtitle, it says, or in the I'm sorry, in the dub, she says like, "Oh, it's something, I don't know, like just the static in my brain or something like that." But in the Japanese subtitle, it says, "Oh, maybe it's that time of the month." Like,
oh
Oh, really?
wow,
I missed
really?
that.
yeah. And then later, Batu is like talking to like the head Japanese guy. I can't remember his name, but he's like talking about like how crazy she's gotten, kind of like him alluding to maybe it's based off that comment earlier. But that's some things that are kind of missed in the English dub that you don't get. But again, it just kind of wrestles too with those same things that you were just talking about, Jamie.
Yeah, well, and has anyone seen Altered Carbon, that Netflix show?
No.
Well, that was
I
based off a movie, wasn't it? There was a movie, Altered Carbon, with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't
Okay.
know that
Yeah,
either, and
that's
no, I
what
haven't
came
watched it.
first. It was like a cell shaded film, right? Because the show's cell shaded, isn't it?
That I
Like
don't
kind
know.
of traced.
I
Oh,
think
like
it's
Waking Life or
live
whatever?
action.
Yeah, it's
No,
it's live action with like a tracing over it, like a weird animated like outlining. I don't know. Is it straight up live action or does it look
Oh,
slightly
you're
weird or
talking.
CGI?
Yeah, are you just thinking with Keanu Reeves? Are you talking about Waking Life?
Is that what that is? Am I
Or
confusing
no,
things?
I'm thinking of the series with Anthony Mackie, where they like shed different skins, like they implant their consciousness into different bodies. I haven't seen it. I only saw the trailer, but I got serious Ghost in the Shell vibes because their skin is rented, and they can take their consciousness and put it into a different skin, kind of thing. I don't know. This would be more helpful if any of us had seen it.
no, I'm looking. The posters look cool for it. But yeah, I see like for sure some
Sorry,
Ghost in the
I'm
Shell vibes
confusing with
here.
A Scanner Darkly.
Scanner
A
Darkly.
Scanner Darkly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's. I was trying to look it up. I couldn't get there fast enough.
That's
But
what
that one has the
that's
same
what
like
I'm
animation
crossing it off
styles,
with.
like A Waking Life too. That same thing where it's like
yes.
they animated like over like the filming of it or
Mhm.
some weird thing. But
Which A Scanner Darkly, if I'm, is another Philip K. Dick short story. By the way,
yes, it is.
man, Philip K. Dick, man, he's all over the place. I'm watching Man at the Man
Man in
at
the
the
High
High
Castle?
Castle. Yeah, Man in the High Castle. Just started. Just finished season 1. So
Oh man, the first 2 seasons of that show are so good. Then I
it's
feel
one of
like
those.
it really
Yeah.
like kind of goes off the rails, but
It's one of those like where I'm like, okay, so this has got to be the situation that's happening, and then of course I just finished season 1 and I'm like, of course it is. And you know what, I should have got there faster with everything being a multiverse these freaking days.
well, yeah, but that show's been out for like
Oh, a long time. Yeah,
a
like
long
so I'm
time,
sure at the
yeah.
time it probably blew everyone's mind.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of, if anybody watched Fringe, that's how like season 1 of Fringe ended
Oh, yeah.
too.
Yep, major Fringe vibes.
Yeah. Sorry, we can get back to Altered Carbon.
I didn't have anything more to say. I just was I was wondering if anyone else had seen it, just to kind of give me some more info on it. But
No,
I
but that
haven't.
sounds like a watch list thing, huh?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna add that.
it looked cool.
One thing I did, sorry, that was in the live action that made me think of it after this topic was one they try to reiterate probably about 30 to 40 times in the live action that like what the ghost is and what they mean by ghost in the shell, like referencing the ghost as like the mind and the spirit and the soul, and they reference it like, so if they ever talk about the ghost, they don't just leave it alone, they have to dive deep into like what they mean by ghost every time they bring it up, because I feel like they must have thought that the cartoon didn't bring that up enough of like what that was. It might have confused people, I guess, I'm not sure. But in the movie they do say like basically that she's got a human brain and everything else about her is bionic. So they do specify that specifically, to even to the point where they explain why ScarJo looks the way she is, in the sense of like, not that like she is white Scarlett Johansson, but they talk about how she like she goes and finds her mother, like her actual mother, and her mom recognizes her because of like, or she recognizes her mom because of her eyes, or vice versa, and because ScarJo has the same brain and feelings that like light up towards her mother, and like, so it's like, oh no, your little girl didn't die. This is, she just got taken away and her brain survived, and now I'm in
Oh,
this robot shell.
cool.
So
Speaking
they
of
do,
little girl,
yeah, talk about that. Yeah,
uh, what do you think of the ending?
That one was tough. My best instinct was, because I need to watch it again, because like you guys, I caught some stuff but was lost for a ton of it. I just interpreted that as, what is human, what is technology? Well, all of them want to reproduce, and I thought it was cool how they talked about the virus, because you think about AI being all scary and taking over the world, and then you remember, oh, they're susceptible to viruses just like human beings. So, and they bring that up in the movie. So I just read it
Hmm.
as they just wanted to create life just like anything else, and maybe that's what makes, I don't know. I don't even want to say human, because they're not human, but
and they wanted to
that's what I
dream
read.
of electric sheep.
Yes.
Exactly. Thank you.
I think that was actually part of the reason that I was so into this film. It was kind of the ending, because that was really the big kind of philosophical debate kind of coming to a climax, because it was, the whole movie was about Kusanagi, Major, uh just struggling with like, who am I, where do I live, how do I evolve, what is my purpose, who am I, other than just this shell that I'm in, and this uploaded consciousness. And then now she's has the memories of a human, right? She was born at one point, she has the and she could die, right? That she is in this limited capacity body, and now then she's thrown up against the puppet master, who is like the opposite, right? The puppet master, he or she or it is, they are a consciousness born from like the vast sea of data. Like, how crazy is that? It's just like consciousness born from information, and so it
Yes.
has literally nothing of humanity. It comes from the polar opposite of where Kusanagi came from. And so I think that's what really got me into this, after digesting all this after the fact, was this end scene where you've got this this soul that was born of nothing, this soul that was created from data, meeting with this other consciousness that came from a body, a soul that came from a different experience. And the puppet master proposes, let's we're not here to fight. Like, the puppet master isn't even like a bad thing in the end. It says, I want to evolve, you are looking to evolve, let's evolve together, let's combine, and let's create a new life entity. It's just so crazy. Like, let's create this new thing that has never been
Hmm.
created. And it even convinces her, right? Because she's like, oh, I don't want to lose who I am. And he's like, bullshit, like, we're both gonna win here, like, we're both gonna get better, this is crazy. And that's why I love that. And I actually love the ending because then it's so funny because what's his face? Bateau is like, sorry, black market, all you get is a kid. But it's so
Yeah.
damn perfect that they're reborn as a kid
Yeah.
because as they walk away, I don't remember what she says. She says like, "What now?" She has like a conversation with herself, alluding to both of the consciousnesses being like
And her voice
coexisting.
changes.
Yeah, it's just I thought it was perfect. I thought it was a great revelation to kind of end the whole thing, and what a refreshing like film. There, like the bad guy was neither of them. There was no who was the
Hmm.
antagonist here other than society and the world that we live in. You know,
What was
the
like
baddest of it.
the corporation, right? It was kind of,
Yeah,
they just were trying to get their product back,
yeah.
like
Well,
their
and what is the
creation.
one of it was like Section 9 and Section 4, and it's basically what the CIA versus the FBI, right? It's different branches of government, and it just
Yeah, like
shows
the
the
secure, or like
fatalism of
the
bureaucracy, right? It was
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, there are some cool
Chat.
clips in there too. They're talking about like they still claim that they're the freedom loving democracy of past and shit like
Mm-hmm.
that. Just
Mm-hmm.
kind of this tell on like Western power and stuff like that. But what were you gonna say, James?
I was just gonna say, I think you would dig on the live action that the Puppet Master. Like he's kind of this, almost broken version of Major, where he was like the original and it didn't work out. So like he's slightly flawed in his coding, if you will, and so at times when he's talking, he goes full Max Headroom on you,
Oh,
and he's
I
like,
was just gonna say that.
yeah,
That's
like, and that's
awesome.
exactly where they go with it, and it's
Max Headroom.
yeah, and it's like it's one of those like it happens and you're like, "Whoa, did that?" And then he does it again later and it's pretty fluid and it plays. But I don't know, like I said, go with low expectations and I thought it was very enjoyable, especially like I said, just watching right after the original one because there
Yeah.
is so many similarities where you could tell that the director like really appreciated the first one and like wanted to try to get it as clearly the story switches a bit
Hmm.
to for audiences, but the way the scenes are shot and some of the CG or animation, if you will, is pretty spot on. It's fun.
Yeah, I watched it up through like the geisha girl
Yeah, the robot
dinner attack.
geisha.
Yeah.
Which actually, I when I was reading like that part, the geishas were actual robots, not CG. Apparently, like minus like the faces were of robots. So like when the faces were moving,
Yeah.
and then the actresses
Oh
all went
wow.
through geisha school and whatnot. But
Yeah, that part looked really good. That was cool. All right. Final thoughts before we I thought maybe before we go we can plug a show quick that you guys are watching and then we'll send off. We'll be done for the evening. What do you guys got? Got a show you want to plug?
I'll just plug Man in the High Castle, like I was talking about earlier. For those who don't know, it's kind of this alternate universe where Japan and Germany won World War II, and it's kind of what America looks like with that happening, and shenanigans happen from there. And there's a little bit more sci-fi element to it where they're getting films of America winning the war, which is like building this resistance. Yet they don't explain like what does this mean through all season one, or where are we getting these propaganda films? Like this didn't happen. How could this not exist? But it's basically Japan and Germany won the war, and they created an atom bomb. And they bombed. I think they say they bombed
In
like
New
DC, and
DC,
that
yeah.
bombed DC, and that's how they won instead of like how we bombed them, they bombed us, and they in turn won the
Mm.
war.
Yeah, US is like split up between uh
Like
Germany and
the
yeah, and like
Pacific Asian
Japan, and
states
then
of
there's
this, and yeah,
like the center part, pretty much where like the Rocky Mountains are is like the can't remember
neutral
we're kind of
zone or
neutral
whatever.
zone or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then the other like New York is like, I mean, it's like they have like the New York, like so it's like like the Third Reich of Long Island. Like I don't know, like they just like uh, Nazi out these names and stuff like that, and everyone's still running around in Nazi uniforms and all this, and it's a lot of fun. I like those kind of those storylines of what ifs.
Alternate history.
Yep. So that's my show.
Cool. Casey, you got a YouTube channel you want to plug?
Oh man, I've got so much. First of all,
Let's just pick
shout
one.
out to, well, I gotta say Wisecrack was the channel that I've watched the philosophy of Ghost in the Shell, so I have to give a shout out to that because that's where I did a lot of my digesting.
Mhm.
Great show there. But no, the I guess my YouTube recommendation is, I don't know. I don't know who Chris Gethard is. I've never watched his show before, but I randomly was shown a clip of some other people that I really enjoy. Paul Scheer and Jason Mantzoukas. They're actors, comedians from UCB in Chicago, but they were both on The League, a show that I really enjoyed. And Jason Mantzoukas is in a bunch of podcasts that I really enjoy. And he's been guest hosts on other pods I enjoy. He's generally hilarious and chaotic everywhere he is. And there's an episode of the Chris Gethard Show, season 2, episode 9 on YouTube with Paul Scheer and Jason Mantzoukas called One Man's Trash. And it's 43 minutes of what I think is just kind of nonstop kind of chaos. And I found myself gut laughing a lot throughout watching a lot of that. So that's my plug for YouTube.
Got anything, Jamie?
Casey, your YouTube recommendations have never steered me wrong, as I've said before, so I will be watching that. Yeah, broken record here for the 3rd episode. I'm still watching Euphoria. I'm taking it an episode at a time. Still love that show. I just finished season 1. No spoilers, but let's just say when Rue puts on her sweatshirt in the final episode, if you know, you know, I was not quite a puddle, but it was close. God, I love that show. I'm so happy it exists. So I'm still watching and loving Euphoria. Chad?
Yeah, I'm gonna step on Casey's YouTube channel plays here, and I have a YouTube channel recommendation. I
Yes.
go down this, just I love pop culture when it comes to like American pop culture, and just like being kind of nostalgic too about my past. And so I've been watching this. It's called Dave's Archives, and it's nothing but like just hours of old retro like TV commercials, and that's all it is from
Yes.
like the 80s and 90s. So
Oh, dude, this looks
it's
so good.
yeah.
I'm
My
watching this all
buddy,
day
my
tomorrow.
buddy, my
This
buddy.
looks awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. But so checking that out. Um, all right. Well, thank you guys. This was a great conversation. But before we go, I want to thank everybody for downloading this episode of Movie Time Machine. Remember, new episodes drop on Mondays in case I forget to post it like I did this week. But you can message us and follow us on Twitter at Movie Machine Pod. And thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you.